Hi, I'm Victoria Olsina, and this is SEO in 2025.
Victoria, what's your number one SEO tip for 2025?
My number one SEO tip for 2025 is to move beyond prompts into GPTs for your clients.
So, is this tip specifically for SEO agencies?
Yeah, I think that this, when you train your own GPT on the client's data or any data, it could be a GPT about me to write LinkedIn posts. The GPT is doing the most important part, which is to get to know the subject and how does that subject talks about the specific things. So it saves you a lot of time in terms of research and how to write like that person or that client.
And should every SEO agency be doing this, or is it only slightly larger SEO agencies you're thinking of?
I do it for all of my clients, so it doesn't matter if they're big or small. I specialize in Web3 clients, crypto, blockchain. These are very highly complex topics, right? Especially B2B products like it's not a crypto consumer, but it's technologies and development tools for people coding the actual consumer goods. So it's highly specialized. I could hire a researcher. I could start researching, but it's easier if you just train your GPT on the customer's data, on the client's data. What is the client's data? You have branding documents, you have messaging documents, you have their own website, you have their own blog. So I could ask things to the GPT about the client instead of the client itself. I could tell it to explain things to me. I could tell, okay, what does this client do? What are the products? What are the services? What do you think it would be the best the best information architecture based on this thing that you know about the client?
Understood. So it's a much more customized experience for the client. It understands brand voice a lot more, obviously, but it also just understands the client in general more and is able to be less likely to produce irrelevant content or hallucinations.
Exactly. Yeah. Many times, even if you ask a client, okay, what do you think that that you do better, or what do you think that the benefits of your technology are? What are your features and your benefits? I would say that 90% of people don't know how to answer that, but GPT knows. If you ask, okay, tell me all of the things that you sell, and in each of these components, tell me all of the features and all of the benefits. It just does it for you, and it does it for you better than an actual human most of the times.
Okay, so you're selling it well. It sounds idyllic, but I'm sure there are a couple of downsides to it. I mean, what are the concerns, issues that people have to watch out for when they're creating their own custom GPTs?
I don't see any downside.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's still the content has to be. Let's say that we do a landing page about Majestic, right? A landing page about Majestic backlink checker. I will have that page ready in 10 seconds. Yeah, very likely. I have the page structures, right? I provide something to the GPT, but the GPT has all of the body of knowledge about Majestic. If I have downloaded your website, Majestic, and uploaded into a GPT, that GPT knows everything about Majestic.
Well, it knows everything about Majestic so far, but what about if Majestic wants to publish a new page that's slightly different, that offers additional information, new information? That's something only humans can do, isn't it?
Well, you have to have an interview with the client as well. What are the future plans? What are the most commercial important pages? What is the direction you want to take? Is there any change that you want to make? But if I have to launch an update of an existing, let's say that we have the backlink checker, and the backlink checker page will have new features, and I see on Notion what are the new features. It'll be very easy to write that from this body of knowledge that we have created in GPT. Actually, I will give you another example. As you know, I'm also a stand-up comedian, and I have a GPT with all of my material. So I can ask the GPT, I can ask Victoria GPT, because it's really hard to write jokes all the time. It's really hard to write stuff on LinkedIn all the time. So I have Victoria SEO GPT with all of the conferences, all of the podcasts, all of the interviews I have given. And if I say, okay, Do we have anything to post on LinkedIn today about backlinks, right? About the importance of backlinks. Give me my top 5 quotes, or find me the 10 quotes that of conferences, interviews, and it will give it to me. And I don't remember all of those things.
Let's chat about the Victoria comic
Yeah,
GPT.
yeah.
So, can it reliably actually understand you, understand all the jokes that you've made in the past and what your comic style is, and from that actually create a new joke that you can use that isn't remotely similar to jokes that you've produced in the past?
I think it has the ability to connect new information with old information. Yeah, and it has created callbacks that I didn't realize. For example, it brings things from, well, because it's reading all of the material from all time, so it can create a callback to things to material from 3 years ago that I haven't realized that there's a direct connection with it. It writes in the style of me. How much of this could I use? Maybe 50%. It's getting better and better. It's definitely getting better than me as a person, as a human. I would say for quick jokes, when you need another idea. Also, comedy, remember, is a lot of bouncing back with someone. And you can bounce back with, I can bounce back with my AI version of me and say, make this sharper, make this punchier. It definitely it's much more human output and tweaking than client content. Client content, when I write it from when I use the GPTs and then an actual writer checks it, the tweaks that the writer makes is change capital letters, sentence case, change allow for enable. Those are the changes that actual human are doing. Like if you want to tell me to change enable for allow, okay, I think you're in trouble.
So you have different steps to implement starting your own GPT or starting a GPT in behalf of a client. So that starts off with data collection. So why is that important, and what do you do there?
Well, because data collection is the most important step for me. The quality of the input will define the quality of the output, right? So it's very different if I imagine, I guess you're recording this. It's very different if the only input I have for my GPT is this interview that we're having right now, than if I have a website about you, David, a website that says everything you have done in your life and all of it. And it has the scripts of all of these podcasts. The output in one will be much better than in the other one. So the more data we can collect about David, about Majestic, about the client, about Victoria's jokes, is the output will be much better than that.
So volume of data is one thing, but training is the next thing. That's the next step in your process, training the model.
Yeah. This is a bit tricky, but this week I have been working on some prompts to train the model, like what is this model supposed to do and to understand and how it's supposed to talk. But now what I do is when that I have my prompt for the GPT, I also ask OpenAI how to improve the prompt. Like, what is this prompt missing? How would you make it better? So that leaves it, I would say, in a very good state.
That's a great tip. And what's an example of something that the LLMs come back to you and suggested that you improve that you didn't actually immediately think of yourself?
Sometimes I forget if it's American English, British English. Sometimes the clients have feedback, or we change, I don't know, the CTA changes or the slogan changes, and you can input that to the GPT instructions directly rather than changing in all of the material. So you can override rules from the instructions as well.
And your next step is customization, fine tuning the model.
Yes. So this is related to what I have just said as well. I should have kept it for the answer. Fine tuning the model. Obviously, each of these, let's say we're creating landing pages, they will be checked by human. A human could be a content writer, a marketer, or the client itself, and they will come back with feedback, right? So ways of fine tuning the model would be to tell the model what are the things that you can correct or you can tweak, you can fix. And also, you can download this finalized piece of content and put it back in the training material. So the output that is correct goes back into the machine once more.
And we're moving on to integration after that. So integrating the GPT with tools like content management systems and collaboration systems.
Yeah, so I'm making some experiments with this. I have integrated the GPT, not the GPT, but you know that you can create custom GPTs on OpenAI, and you also have an AI assistant, which is very similar, but it works on the testing side of it. What's the name? The sandbox. The GPTs in sandbox are called OpenAI assistants. So, and they are very, very similar. So what you can do is you can connect it to different automation tools, like for example, Make.com, Zapier, or any of those. I'm actually going to be, I'm preparing an experiment right now for that. It's very experimental, so I'm not going to do it with clients. I'm going to do it with the Comedy GPT, with my Victoria Comedy GPT, because I have cloned myself using Hey Jen. I don't know if you have seen this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So right now I'm just posting videos of jokes that my custom GPT makes, and then I copy and paste and I put it on the HeyGen AI, right? But I want this to work autonomously. Autonomously is so the experiment that I'm be running very shortly is to connect it to a news API. Yes. So in the news API, you will have a lot of feeds. So then the OpenAI assistant comes, picks up a topic, makes the jokes like Victor, like me, and then send it to Hey Jen, and then their video is created, and then it goes to Instagram stories. All of that, all joined with Make.com. I don't know. Will it be good? Will it be crap? We don't know, but it will be. It will not be monitored. I just want to see what happens because I'm also going on holiday. So I'm going to leave it making stories on my comedy Instagram to see what happens.
And you're not finished after the integration phase. Continuous improvement is necessary.
Yes, exactly. So continuous improvement, the improvements can come from yourself, things that you have noticed that are missing. You can also, again, ask GPT how to improve the prompt. And you can collect the feedback from the client and from the marketing team and make a new prompt with that to refine the model. Or also, if there are changes, if you are going to stop calling, a product changes the name, you change some sort of thing in your branding, you can also incorporate it there.
If an SEO is struggling for time, what should they stop doing right now so they can spend more time focusing on custom GPTs in 2025?
Well, I think that the value of us as humans is not in the repetitive task anymore. So something that I found, I have never been a fan of big audits, big technical audits. I feel that when an audit has more than 10 items, people struggle to implement anything and nothing is done, right? If you see a very long list, a 200 row list in Excel, I don't think that you're going to implement most of it. So I would keep technical audits to a minimum of 5, to a maximum of 5 to 10 items.
Victoria Olsina is an SEO and growth consultant, and you can find her over at victoriaolsina.com. Victoria, thanks so much for being part of SEO in 2025.
Thank you for inviting me.
I've been your host, David Bain. Get your copy of SEO in 2025, the book, over at SEOin2025.com.